good people, and welcome back to the channel. In just a few moments, you'll get to hear my thoughts and feelings on episode 8 of Our Kind of People. Now for the purposes of this review, I'm going to follow the same format that I did for my episode 7 review, in that I will discuss the main storylines for the episode and how I feel about them, instead of going over a beat-by-beat recap of the entire episode. Speaking of episode 7, I was happy with how the quality of the storytelling picked up from previous episodes, and going into episode 8, I wanted the show to continue carrying in that momentum. Did episode 8 meet my expectations, or did it leave me feeling disappointed? Stay tuned to find out. Episode 8 covers the following topics: Teddy's return from hospitalization, Nikki bonding with Nate, Angie bonding with Leah, the continued fallout between Leah and Raymond, and finally, the introduction to Quincy's much anticipated storyline. So the episode kicks off with Teddy at his home and being welcomed by Leah and the grandkids. You see, Teddy's birthday is right around the corner, and Teddy's plans to celebrate it in style. When the grandkids leave, Teddy tells Leah that she will be taking over Franklin Holdings in a temporary capacity, but Franklin Holdings will eventually be all hers. Teddy instructs Leah to lead with strength, but something tells me that Teddy is just playing nice with Leah, the same way Lucius played nice with Hakeem in Empire, when he wanted Hakeem to step up and run the company. Later on in the episode, Angie meets up with Teddy and the two talk about family. Teddy then invites Angie and Nikki to his party, and Angie accepts. Teddy then calls Raymond and lets him know that Raymond and his ex-wife have caused the family enough pain, and he warns Raymond to watch his step. Raymond replies by talking trash to Teddy. Tyreek then meets up with Teddy to apologize for the night Teddy caught him and Angie in his office. Teddy lets him know that all is forgiven and that he set up the deal for Tyreek to build the new stadium. So we get to Raymond's party, and there's a nice Harlem Nights vibe going on. The costumes are amazing and the music is appropriate for the atmosphere. But one thing I couldn't help but notice is that Teddy was literally just released from the hospital after suffering a heart attack. He also has Parkinson's, yet at his birthday party, he's on the dance floor dancing like Sammy Davis Jr., and it was laughable to say the least. So let's talk about a little father-daughter bonding, shall we? In episode 8, Nate comes to visit Nikki and they go shopping together. While out on the town, Nate sees a cop car and the two officers jump out and walk towards his direction. The scene is tense because we as the audience really don't know what the officers are doing there. Nate fears that the officers are going to try to arrest him, and he freezes up while Nikki panics as the officers close in. But to much surprise, the officers are there to attend to other matters. Later on in the episode, Nate and Angie meet up during Teddy's birthday party. They briefly talk about Tyreek, but they also talk about the cop incident from earlier. Angie then meets with Nikki after the party, and she helps Nikki process everything. Angie then asks Nikki how she would feel if Nate moved in with them, and Nikki seemed excited about the idea. Later that night, Angie summons Nate to her home, and she asks him to move in with them. Nate agrees with the idea, and the two of them hug. But just as this is happening, a drunk Tyreek barges in and senses that Angie and Nate might be together. Tyreek ultimately leaves, but I have a question to everyone listening out there. I have to ask this question as direct as possible. Are Angie and Tyreek even in a legitimate relationship? I mean, I know they have sex pretty regularly, and they tend to exchange DNA in other ways, but I'm not really getting relationship vibes from either one of them. But I digress. So with the title of the episode being Sistervention, I'm surprised that the bulk of the storyline didn't revolve around this angle. But this portion of the episode shows us how Angie and Leah begin to bond outside of their love for children. The two of them are talking about their issues with their men, and Leah is still on the outs with Raymond. Later on in the episode, Raymond comes back home and enters the dressing room as Leah is getting ready for a function. The two are still at odds, and Raymond accidentally knocks over Leah's purse, and Leah picks it up first, concealing the key card that was given to her earlier in the day by Jack. After Teddy's party, Angie meets up with Leah in a parking lot to discuss Leah choosing not to cheat on Raymond with Raymond's former partner Jack. They spend a great deal of time talking about their mothers, as well as Leah's marriage to Raymond. Angie encourages Leah to be honest with Raymond, but I don't know if Leah is honorable enough to do that. Later on that night, Leah and Raymond meet up back at the house. They talk about their marriage and what led up to their problems. their problems are temporarily solved as they begin to have sex. And finally, let's talk about Quincy. It only took the show 8 episodes to do something meaningful with his character, but here it is. Quincy meets up with a girl who works for the DuPonts, and we learn that Quincy wants to play in the NBA, but his father wants him to follow in the family's footsteps. Now, in my opinion, this love interest is kind of random for Quincy, because up until this point, we really haven't seen or heard much from him. But while at Teddy's party, Quincy has a conversation with Raymond about what he truly wants to do, and Raymond doesn't seem to fight Quincy on this. Quincy returns to meet with the girl and tell her about his new future, but Quincy is stopped short of being allowed to take the girl out by the head maid of the Franklin estates. If you ask me, this girl is someone of importance, such as one of Teddy's daughters or possibly Tyreek's long-lost family member. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I will give this episode a 5. I like that a decent storyline is starting to develop on the show, but for me, there's still entirely too much going on story-wise for me to become invested. The pacing for things that are being introduced to the story is lightning quick, and I think a show of this caliber can do a better job than what they're showing fans. But this marks the end of my video. If you want to leave a comment about this review or the episode in general, then leave a comment below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. But until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.